It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umar Rusanda Amado, and tonight I'm here with
Ejibi Wiafe Akente.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes, John Jinapor-led Ministry of Energy uncovers the disappearance of over 1,000 containers belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. We'll hear what the implications are. Also coming up, Communications Minister Samuel Nate George authorizes the sacking of 100 so-called midnight appointees at the Ghana Post Company.
Today, I have authorized the termination of a few more at Ghana Post, almost 100, that were done post-December 7.
And later on Eyewitness News, lawyers for former NSB boss Kwabena Edubuahin still working the processes to ensure that their client goes home. He remains in custody. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more details of Eyewitness News, these headlines and other stories. And in business,
banks deny liability for losses incurred by Eurobond holders under external debt restructuring.
That's in 15 minutes from the Citi Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a host of affiliate stations. We are live across the country on a number of affiliate stations, including Adwinpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach 105.5 FM, and Sky 93.5 FM, both in Takrady. In the Bono region on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region on Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi. We are also live on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. We are live in the Volta region on Heritage FM, as well as Revival 99.3 FM in Tajevu and VOV Radio 95.7 in Hohwe. In the Northern region, we are on Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM in Bimbila. In the Upper East region, we are on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. We are also in the Upper West region on Tongsun 97.3 FM in Wa, as well as in Jirapa on Jirapa FM 96.1. We are live also on Facebook, live on Citi FM, online.com and citinewsroom.com. That's our website. We are also live on YouTube. Just look for our name, Citi FM, and follow the conversation. You can send us messages on WhatsApp 0549 986 996, 0549 986 996. We start off from the Ministry of Energy, and this afternoon the Minister for Energy called a press conference. The Minister for Energy and Green Transitions, the Honorable John Abdullahi Jinapor, he is MP for Yapekuso, and he's revealed that over 1,300 containers which were meant to be cleared at the Tema port are unaccounted for. These containers, according to him, belong to the Electricity Company of Ghana. We've been joined on the line now. Actually, we've lost him. We'll try and re-establish connection with him. He is going to speak to us briefly to understand what the issue is. Honorable Jinapor, if you can hear me, welcome to Eyewitness News. Tell us more on this discovery that you made. Was it a committee you set up which unearthed this, and what duration are we talking about?
Thank you. As you may be aware, we established this committee to investigate the containers that were held up at the ports. What we intended doing was to find a way to clear the containers. Today, the committee submitted this report, and to our almost shock, about 1,350 containers cannot be accounted for. They are not at the harbor. Obviously, they've been stolen because in ECG's records, the containers are at the port, but at the port, the containers are not available. And so we are going to launch a criminal investigation into this matter, hold all corporates liable and put them before court.
So they are neither at the port nor in ECG warehouses or ECG offices?
They are neither at the port, they are not at ECG warehouses, they cannot be accounted for.
And this,
meanwhile, on record, they are supposed to be there.
So on record, they are still supposed to be at the port. What about the port officials? What have they said? Who came for them? Because maybe if it disappears at the port, then maybe it was in the custody of the port. So Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority should be answering?
Absolutely. And that is why we want the police and the law enforcement agencies to launch a criminal investigation into this matter. And let me assure the country, whatever it takes to hold people liable, to retrieve the containers or the monetary value of the containers, we will do that. As I speak to you, Hello Ghana has shut the pipeline because of legacy bills that have not been paid. We are doing everything we can to get them to open the pipeline because that will impact our supply. Whilst we are looking for money to pay for debt that we inherited, others are profiting and benefiting from this country through illegal means. We cannot allow that to continue. I have nothing against any individual. I have nothing against anybody, but we will do the right thing and hold people responsible.
So these containers, what did they contain, or what do they contain?
A lot of contain cables, they contain meters, say materials, generally materials they require for ECG's activities. And what even worsens the situation? ECG had about 1,000 containers they couldn't clear. They didn't have money to clear the containers, and yet they awarded new contracts for the same materials. So, for instance, you have cables at the port. You claim you don't have money to clear the containers at the port. And yet you are awarding contracts for the same cables that you claim you cannot clear at the port. It makes no sense. Then they decide that they will merge the procurement directorate, the whole procurement directorate, with the estates department, kick out the procurement director, and put the estate department manager as head of estate and procurement.
Okay, now this actually sounds very bizarre. This issue of the containers, that containers can simply disappear into thin air. It sounds very strange, and I'm happy to hear that you say you are going to trail them and discover wherever they may have gone. We'll be happy if you share the updates as soon as you have them.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, before I move on from ECG, I just want to ask you one question. The Kumasi situation, have you dealt with it completely? The power outages that were recorded there.
As far as I'm concerned, we've comprehensively dealt with it because we've powered a new bulk supply point, which is about 3 times the capacity of the old one. I've asked for an update, and I'm getting the update tomorrow. They'll provide me with a SAFI, which is the system's average frequency interruption. It tells us what had happened at the distribution point. And so when I get that, I'll share with you as well. So we want to improve what we inherited, and that's exactly what we are doing.
Please do. And finally, I'm just looking at a story our correspondent in Parliament has sent through, Nia Ikuoka, and he says that Parliament has approved 1.2 billion for the Energy and Green Transition Ministry. I know that you are busy in Parliament doing the approval, appropriation as you call it. Generally, what would this mean to our power sector, the 1.2 billion going to you, or energy sector?
Well, a lot of them goes to our sector agencies, not to the ministry directly. For instance, MPA is captured, Petroleum Commission, Petroleum Hub, Energy Commission, and most of the energy sector SOEs. And so it's not a budget that comes directly to the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. But all is aimed at improving the entire energy value chain, be it the petroleum sector and the power sector.
The last paragraph of his story, he says the government's GOES solar project will also be implemented as part of efforts to promote clean and sustainable energy solutions. When should we start seeing something big in the green or solar sector by your ministry, since you have renamed or you've been renamed to Energy Green Transitions?
Yes, we've already outlined a budget line for it. Normally the practice is that you take a bit from the fossil fuel side and use that to invest in the renewable energy. We've developed a strategy document. We've converted that into an implementation document. We've already gone to cabinet. And so what we are waiting for is a PPA to grant us approval with the Ministry of Finance. So we'll start the process.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. Honorable, thank you so much. That's Honorable John Abdullahi Jinapor. He's Minister for Energy and Green Transition. Is MP for Yape Kusau in the Savannah region. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll tell you about the situation with the former National Signals Bureau chief who's in custody alongside his wife and attempts by his lawyers to secure his freedom, albeit temporarily, before he appears in court. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens. Oh, jump on now.
Go, the go. Google me. And what time when you come back, we are not hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, they make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make her feel the gobe too small.
The go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Accra. I am Omaru Sandamadu here with Ajobi Wiafia Kenton, who is taking us to the next story, which relates to the former NSB boss who is in custody. Ajobi.
The legal team for former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Kwabena Edubuahing, has filed a bail application for him and his wife, Angela Boateng, pending ongoing investigations. The couple was arrested on Friday, March 21, and has since been in detention at the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. Edubuahing is alleged to have diverted $7 million from a cyber defense system contract into his private account. Speaking on the Citi Prime News earlier today, their lawyer Samuel Atachia claimed he was denied the opportunity to properly interrogate his clients following the arrest. He described their detention as unfair, arguing that it violated their legal rights.
How is your client doing?
Well, he's still behind bars at the Yoko headquarters. And I know he's determined to relax until justice will set him free. In fact, temporarily. That is what it is.
The Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Sremsai, had indicated that your client had been granted bail. Is he still going through the bail procedure?
What is bail conditions at the behest of your captors? People will go to the press and condemn you that you are guilty, and if possible, let's look at plea bargaining. What kind of conditions would they impose upon you and say that, oh, we've admitted you to bail? Because if the bail terms are such that you need to go and bring the whole of London as property security, and if they are not satisfied, they go and bring that of also of New York. What would you call it bail? So it is very difficult when people talk about bail, and it is at the pleasure of your captors. So as it stands now, there's no bail properly so-called. The 48 hours as stipulated by the Constitution is long past. And I thought they would do what is needful and realize that these are not common criminals. Somebody will travel all the way from the United Kingdom, business class to Kotoka International Airport. They didn't go through the Lome border. He's not hiding. He came to Ghana by himself. I went to the commercial lounge. So what is the point? The man is not running away anywhere. And bail should not be used as an instrument of punishment against the innocent, because at the threshold, every person, according to the Constitution, is deemed innocent until proven otherwise by a court of competent jurisdiction, not in the court of public opinion.
Have you had access to your client? I believe he was picked up on Friday.
He was picked up on Thursday.
On Thursday.
The male client, Mr. Dubois, and the wife, Angela. Angela was picked up on Friday when she voluntarily walked to Yoko to go and see the husband. You see, a common thief will run away after the husband has been arrested. He will not walk into harm's way. So Thursday, my client Adubuahin was arrested. Friday, the wife was arrested, and they have since been incarcerated.
But have you had access to them?
I had access to them yesterday, and there was the necessity to respect the mandates of the Constitution that I should interrogate them. I should talk to them before even Yoko will start working on them, because they have a right to counsel in terms of the Constitution. And they even have a right to remain silent. They said, no, they will not permit me to interrogate them unless they are seated in the interrogation, so that I should violate the lawyer-client, confidentiality. I said, I wouldn't do that for you. Not push me to go upstairs to go and see their boss. Now, look, this is a very, very sad situation. I couldn't get through to their boss, and then we left. Whilst I was in the conference room of their boss, and then the press conference started, in which the Attorney General was crucifying the innocent before they are pronounced guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. The Attorney General was feeding poison to the general public to condemn them before the evidence. And I found it very sad and unfortunate. It shouldn't have been so. And it is very interesting. The Attorney General himself did something which is in self-contradiction, that we are still investigating. So why would you want to condemn a man when you've not even taken his statement, and we are still investigating him, and you just, spew out into the public domain matters which are work in progress? You see, that premature stance taken by the Attorney General, if you ask me sincerely, it's not the rule of law. It's press persecution.
But he has indicated that it's in furtherance of transparency and adequately informing the public on the status of this.
What does the meaning of transparency? What is transparent if an Attorney General on his own motion goes to another man, and the one who's been defamed was never heard? Is it a principle stand in criminal investigation that what your view of the matter is what should hold sway? And they call it evidence. You understand what evidence is? Evidence is not a pathetic docket an Attorney General will have. The Attorney Generals have thought that they had very good cases. They lost in the court of law, where the so-called, thing in the docket will be tested under cross-examination. Evidence is not the preserve of an Attorney General. It is the court. They call it adduction of evidence. And that is what we should know. That's the difference. So if you have a version, that will not constitute the guilt of the suspect. Do you understand? Proof beyond reasonable doubt. Proof beyond reasonable doubt is not in the realm of the press. I'm sorry to tell you this. Proof beyond reasonable doubt is in the court of competent jurisdiction. So Attorney General is the prosecutor. Attorney General is the judge. And you could hear him talking about plea bargaining. You've not even heard about a man's story. They've not even taken their statement. They're not talking about plea bargaining. A man that you've not interrogated. This is a research in law, which is very pathetic and unfortunate. And we should then encourage it. Today is Buahin and the wife. Tomorrow, it could be any other person. You are crucified in the court of public opinion. And then somebody says, I'll thereafter come and prosecute you. I pronounce you guilty before I prosecute you. It's pathetic propaganda, and it's not right.
With his continuous detention, what is your next available plan, or what do you intend to do?
We will have to seek redress in court, because what is happening, they are on a frolic of their own. What they think is right is what they are doing. The right might not be with them. The right is with the court. You see, so let an unbiased adjudicator look at the matter, and the people will have a respite in terms of a bail. And when they have the bail, we can talk properly in the hollow chambers of a law firm. You can discuss the issues with your client without somebody saying that I am your captor. But when you are talking to your lawyer, I want to sit in and record the conversation. So that if I joke and permit such blackmail, I could be the subject matter of investigation by the General Legal Counsel. And people, when a man commits murder, he has a right to counsel. The counsel should talk to him confidentially.
That was Samuel Atachia, legal counsel for former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Kwabena Edu Boahin, speaking to Zoe Abubedu earlier on Citi Prime News. Meanwhile, co-chair of the Citizen Movement Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, has defended the Attorney General's actions, describing them as standard practice. He disputed claims that a judgment is required before details of the Edu Boahin case can be made public.
Well, probably part of that is out of ignorance. This is standard practice in many jurisdictions. If you take the Department of Justice in the U.S. and FBI, there are 3 levels at which they would communicate. They would call press conferences, and you can check the data. So these are standard things. Indeed, one of the major gaps we have found in the past in our anti-corruption space is the lack of feedback to the public from anti-corruption and security and intelligence agencies. So the YOCOs, the charges, the BNIs, the CIDs, what have you. And there's a reason why in crafting Act 959, we intentionally put a clause that every 6 months, the special prosecutor should report back to the public. That was supposed to be like the threshold. So we actually expect that much more frequently than 6 months, to the extent that there's something of relevance, you tell the public. And there are good reasons for this.
You had co-chair of the Citizen Movement Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, speaking there.
This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. So aside what you've heard from Atacha earlier, there appears to be new court processes in relation to this same matter. Hansen Ajiman is our court correspondent. He's in studio. Hansen, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Sandra.
So what's the latest on Mr. Edu Boahin?
So lawyers for Edu Boahin, led by Samuel Atachia, they have filed an application at the Human Rights Division of the High Court seeking bail for their client. They are arguing that the investigators, that's IOCO and the Office of the Attorney General, are treating their clients unfairly, and as a result of that, they are asking the High Court to intervene and grant their clients bail.
Interesting. When I spoke to the Deputy AG yesterday, he told me that Edu Boahin had been granted bail, but they were awaiting the processes that you have to, or the bail conditions before they leave, that they have not satisfied. So that's why they spend the night there. So they already technically have bail, but they have not met the conditions. That's why they're still in custody. And so Atacha's view is that notwithstanding, they are still not being allowed to go home. Is that what his position is?
So his point is that is not bail properly so called, because in his view, the Office of the Attorney General and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, they've set very stringent bail conditions which are difficult for his clients to meet, and these bail conditions are to be justified, and the justified aspect is subjective to how the investigative officers would react to the sureties that you bring. And so if you look at the application, he lists out the bail conditions. So the bail conditions are that the first applicant, which is Kwabena Edu Boahin, is to post bail in the sum of 120 million Ghana cedis to be justified. The second applicant, which is his wife, Angela J. Boatin, is to post bail in the sum of 80 million Ghana cedis, which is also to be justified. He makes the point that this justification of the bail condition is at the pleasure of the respondents. And usually when bail is given, it's either the conditions are to be justified or not justified.
What does that mean?
When the conditions are not to be justified, essentially what you get is that you have a surety who comes to say that, yes, I stand in for this person, and that if this person absconds, I'm willing to pay this amount of money as a result of the ruling in the Martin Pebo case, where now people who stand surety cannot be jailed. So I'm willing to pay this as a contractual sum, and maybe this property, I use it as a surety. But often than not, when it is not to be justified, the police and the investigators are not stringent on who you are, what properties are you bringing. But when it is to be justified, They want to know, okay, Umar is standing surety for Hansen Ajiman.
Where is your property?
Where is his
Where
property?
are the documents?
Where are the documents? What is the value of that property?
So that's becoming difficult
for Kwabena Dubuahin and his wife. So Kwabena Dubuahin is supposed to find sureties who have properties worth 120 million Ghana cedis. His wife is supposed to find properties worth 80 million Ghana cedis. Together, 200 million Ghana cedis to be justified. All these properties, people coming out to say, I have A, B, C, D properties. You get the those are the
you have to value them.
They value these properties, and indeed these properties should be 200 million Ghana cedis, and these properties should be in their names. And so Atacha is arguing that these are conditions that his clients cannot meet, and
so High Court intervene.
The High Court should intervene and set reasonable conditions for his clients, so that his clients can go home, and at least their right to bail will be upheld.
What that means is that even though Dubois and his wife have been granted bail, they will still remain in Iyoko custody because they are unable to meet the bail conditions until the High Court determines or says that very well, vary your terms or let the terms remain. Which means that they may remain there, even though they are technically on bail, but they are not home.
It follows from the practice from the court. So even when a court grants you bail and bail conditions are given, until you meet those bail conditions, you continue to be either in prison custody or police custody as directed by
and it doesn't offend the 48-hour rule.
It doesn't offend the 48-hour rule, but Atachian argues that, you know, there's police inquiry bail, where after 48 hours, you don't grant a said person bail. You need to put the person before court of competent jurisdiction for the person to be able to make a plea for bail. Atachian argues that by setting these stringent conditions, it is a way the Office of the Attorney General and the Economic and Organized Crime Office is trying to go around the 48-hour rule. So yes, it's more than 48 hours. We've given you bail, but we've placed the conditions in such a manner that you cannot meet. And so you cannot accuse us of not giving you bail within the 48 hours. But then again, you cannot meet these conditions.
Interesting. So wait to see what the court, the High Court would be saying, the Human Rights Division. Meanwhile, in the Superior Court, the Supreme Court itself, there was a decision today in relation to that case brought by Imani and Professor Kwesieni. What's the update?
So Imani and Professor Kwesieni went to the Supreme Court, arguing that you cannot remove a service chief, i.e. IGP, the CDS, the head of the Ghana Fire Service, the head of the Ghana Immigration Service. Once these persons are appointed, you can only remove them with stated misconduct. So their suit essentially is to equate it to offices like the Electoral Commission
or judges.
So you cannot say I appointed you, so I have an inherent right to just remove you. Now that suit was filed about a year ago. The Supreme Court, the case had progressed. The Supreme Court was about to deliver its judgment. Then the applicants in that case, that is Imani Ghana and Professor Kwesieni, says they have indications that the president, John Dramani Mahama, may act ahead of the judgment being delivered. And so they went back to court, filed an injunction application for the court to stop the president from removing any of the service chiefs until the determination by the court. However, that ruling was not given, and the president first replaced Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, IGP, with Christian Teto Yohono, did some changes to other key security agencies. So when they went to court today for the ruling, even not the motion had not been moved. So the sitting today was essentially for the case to be moved. But before that, the 5-member panel inquired from lawyers of the applicants, that's Imani and Professor Kwesieni, that you are asking us to prevent the president from removing ABCD, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare and the other leader. He's always done so. And so, aren't your application moot?
He has already done so.
He's already done so. So, in essence, it is our thinking that your application is moot. To say that there's no issue to be litigated again.
It's pointless.
Because you're asking us to stop him from removing Dr. George Akufu Dampare. He's already removed him. Okay. So do you still want to move the application? The lawyers for Imani and Professor Kwesi Enin argue that yes, the Supreme Court, when it gives a ruling, can make consequential orders. In essence, to say that we are stopping the president from making the removal. And so we are then ordering that the removal of Dr. George
was unlawful.
Akufu Dampare and these others were unlawful.
Or for the future.
So the future was a substantive one.
So that's yet to be determined.
That's yet to be determined.
Okay.
So, but he moved his application. The 5-member panel indicated that there are cases and authorities in law to say that an application for injunction merely cannot injunct an officer who is constitutionally mandated
to do something
from doing his work.
Okay.
And so, because of the fact that the action they were seeking from the Supreme Court was moot, was non-existent, and also the fact that the president was not injuncted just by the fact that they filed an application, the court decided to strike out the application as moot and then set May 7, 2025 to deliver its judgment on whether security chiefs can be removed with or without stated misconduct
by the president. Thank you so much. Hansen Ajiman is our court correspondent. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Ejubi, what else do you have for us?
Now, the minority in Parliament has strongly criticized the government for defending recent arrests and searches initiated by national security, describing them as an abuse of rights. Minority Leader Alexander Penyomaken also accused the NDC government of wrongfully labeling the searches as legal. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, he expressed displeasure over the arrest and searches, urging the government to address the matter in court.
We have seen how they approach issues of accountability. Mr. Speaker, we in the minority are not against accountability. We believe in accountability, but we are against abuse of human rights. Today, all the human rights lawyers in the NDC have kept quiet. They've gone to sleep. Where are their human rights lawyers? They are human rights lawyers who are in court enforcing the rights of citizens. Where are they? Today, Ghanaian citizens are detained by investigative agencies beyond 48 hours. Ghanaian citizens have their right being abused without taking them to court. The NDC that bill does not believe in the rule of law, and it is clear in their posture. So-called legal search, which ends up in intimidation. Today, if you even criticize them, they threaten you. If you criticize them, they threaten you. They threaten you. And they say, if you dare me, I would release that case. Release the case. We tired of the hate, the hypocrisy, and the double standards. We tired. Today, we have two Ghanas. One Ghana for the NDC, which is a Ghana of enjoyment, and another Ghana for the MPP and political opponent, which is a Ghana of pain and anguish. Is this the resetting you promised? Is this the resetting you promised? Today in our public service, whereas they are sacking Ghanaians, they are bringing their party foot soldiers with questionable qualifications. Their party communication officers are filling all the PRO offices in our public service without interview. Have they so soon forgotten their own case in the Republic, in Donko versus the Republic? Have they forgotten the ruling in the case of Donko versus the Republic? Oh, NDC. Yatuaba Enuyenhu. Oh, NDC. Ghana for Enwamuhu. But, Mr. Speaker, the people of Ghana take solace in Ngugi Watiengo's "Weep Not Child." Weep not, child, weep not, my darling. With these kisses, let me remove your tears. The ravening clouds shall not long be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. You, the NDC, we are reminding you, you have only 4 years. The 4 years will soon come. If you spend the 4 years in persecution, your time will come. Your ravening clouds shall not long be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. The power you have today is like an ice block. It started melting from December 8th, January 8th, and it will melt until the next elections. Utilize the power wisely. We want employment. The Ghanaian youth are unemployed. Many of the youth you are sending home. What should they go and eat? How should they feed their families? People are suffering. And you are refusing to provide opportunity for all. This is a country of equal opportunity. This is a country with a promise of fairness to all Ghanaians. If all men find a man's hand in a till, his guilt must be proven. If all men find a man's hand in a till, his guilt must be proven. Go to court and do the case. We tired of the attacks in the media. The media trial must cease. This is a country of rule of law. This is not the country we are proud of. Go to court. To the NDC, go to court. Use the judiciary. Use the rule of law. Mr. Speaker, let me come to their so-called 24-hour economy. When the president came to this house, he promised us in his sona that the 24-hour economy will find expression in his budget statement.
You heard Minority Leader Alexander Apenyo Markin. Now, former Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Solomon Asamoah, has denied allegations by Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine that he fled to Senegal to evade justice. Dr. Ayine at a press conference yesterday stated that Asamoah, a key suspect in the SkyTrain scandal, had moved from South Africa to Senegal. However, in a March 24 statement, Asamoah dismissed the claims as false, insisting he remains committed to transparency and cooperation with authorities. He clarified that he left Ghana on Friday, March 21, 2025, for scheduled board meetings abroad as part of his corporate duties. He added that his departure was planned in advance and that no government official had contacted him regarding any investigation before he traveled.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Sawudru krum now yes charcoal toothpaste yes charcoal toothpaste aya no ya hwe yie no bi amfa so hwan na no wa chenchena esane say charcoal toothpaste bebre ane wodwa so na so nya ni nyina na yema wose titru mpo ni se wo nyini no bon ho modin se wo beto charcoal toothpaste a ye di bidia nkasa ye na anya dai kekene ade agumu na wo de yin keka wa fi usimu na wo se nya hoden na se efita to charcoal toothpaste fluoride ewo mu na bo se ho ban na mana ye din da ekosi se obaba akokora na sa abrewa Pepsodent charcoal toothpaste dear what dibidie lemon mint ana zinc ana akabomu aye enti ma wo se din na wonum so ahwam de mu ni nyina Pepsodent dear yenim no dada o enti wasan de bidie lemon ene mint akabomu aye dear ene na kire se yesen adamfo no ebem wonum ahwam na abo se ho ban afrika kanwa bia mu to Pepsodent charcoal toothpaste fetwi usin na mo se ho ban abrebia
Gasaba. Smoke from firewood and charcoal is harmful and as damaging to our lungs as cigarettes. It can cause heart diseases leading to stroke and may even affect our eyesight in the long run. Grandmothers, mothers, sisters, wives, men, caterers, and everyone still cooking with charcoal, let's switch to LPG gas. The National Petroleum Authority has introduced the cylinder recirculation model in collaboration with local partners to make gas more accessible in all local communities. Whether you own a cylinder or not, join our CRM initiative. Simply show up at any exchange point near you with a small down payment to receive a filled cylinder or swap your empty one. Regular safety checks will be in place. Say ebisa mo say mo gas. Afi de gas saba. Switch from firewood and charcoal to gas for a better and healthier life. This message is brought to you by the National Petroleum Authority and the Ministry of Energy.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. Communications Minister Sam Nate George has authorized the dismissal of nearly 100 staff of the Ghana Post Limited, citing an irregular recruitment process. The affected staff members were employed after the December 7, 2024 election, a period during which the minister says proper procedures were not followed. Speaking about the decision, Sam George expressed his commitment to clearing the ministry of individuals whose recruitments were not in line with the established protocols.
People have raised questions about the staff rationalization ongoing at the ministry. But if you are a minister and you take over a ministry that has 3,117 staff in the ministry and its agencies, and you realize that almost 600 of them were recruited after December 7. Basically, you cannot expect me to come and inherit such mess and continue with it. And so the rationalization is ongoing. Today, I have authorized the termination of a few more at Ghana Post, almost 100, that were done post-December 7. And we'll continue this rationalization. I will clean up the ministry, make sure it is lean and efficient, and carries out its work.
Communications Minister Sam Nate George. Meanwhile, Minority Leader Alexander Apenyomarkin has hit hard at government over the dismissal of Ghanaian workers. The Afutu MP says such dismissals are unacceptable.
But what do we see? In less than 3 months in office, all we hear, sack them, sack them, sack them. And they do so without shame. Now they're creating a Ghana for NDC and a Ghana for others. If you belong to the Ghana of others, they don't care. They terminate your appointment and you have the ministers defending their actions. Since when did employment after December 7 become an irregular employment? So far, it is only one minister who has lived up to the promises of the Constitution to sack Ghanaians in his ministry. But even so, it's too early to commend him. We wait to see what he's going to do. All other agencies are sacking Ghanaians, all because they do not have NDC party cards. This is a government for NDC apparatchiks. They don't believe in the Ghanaian dream. They don't believe in the promises of the Constitution. And they do so because they have no spare to prick the size of their intent. Only partisan ambition overleaping itself and falling on the other. Shakespeare reminds us of this. This is the character of the NDC. It is their party first and nothing else. We have seen how they approach issues of accountability. Mr. Speaker.
That was Minority Leader Alexander Apenyomarkin.
We'll be talking to a member of the Communications Committee of Parliament in a bit, but before that, let me bring some of your messages. Mausia Yebi Aista from Ebutiateti in the Volta region says, it's shocking how 1,300 containers belonging to ECG cannot be found at the port. Those who are supposed to oversee the safety of those containers must be held accountable to produce the whereabouts of these containers. Let me take the next message. This one from Zach in Wager. He says, where was Atachi when NPP prosecuted Woyome even before the court took a decision on him? Politicians know the right thing when they are in opposition. This must stop. Emmanuel Awule with George Opoku, all from Pem Madera Limited, Agbogba. So this means two people sending this message, Emmanuel Awule and George Opoku, all from Pem Madera Limited in Agbogba. And the message says, people must be prosecuted in this country. The corruption in the MPP government is too much. Okay. Daniel Akwaliok from Sandema says, the people of Ghana demand justice and there shall be no hiding place for those who betray the public trust. The era of cover-ups is over. Another message, Gastiman in Brekum says, John Jinapo and his NDC were recently seen in Kumasi telling them the power and energy problems had been resolved. What is he going to investigate again? We are tired of such propaganda and their usual misinformation. Abanga Adombire from Zorko in Zorko Kanga says, over 1,300 containers missing. How many of these containers and other properties are missing in other ministries and departments? We are all interested in the outcome of the rot at ECG. Send your message to 0549-986-996. Let me now go on the phone lines and speak to Honorable Davis Opoku Ansa. He is Member of Parliament from Praiso and member of the Information and Communications Committee of Parliament. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Maru.
Well, so we received the information. In fact, the Minister for Communications spoke today and said that about 600 persons under his ministry were employed after December 7. He is taking steps to remove them. In the interim, 100 of those at the Ghana Post in particular have been removed. Has this come to the attention of your committee, which committee I believe has oversight on the ministry?
Yes, we are currently considering the estimate for the ministry, and this includes agencies under the ministry. And a while ago, I had to confront the minister on this subject. But first of all, he's not clothed with the powers to meddle in the affairs of agencies.
Why? Are the agencies not under his ministry where the buck stops with him, overall responsibility?
For instance, earlier this month, the minister issued a directive terminating appointments of persons employed at the National Communications Authority. I mean, these are persons who were employed in 2017. And there are laid down rules. If you want to terminate people's employment, there are laid down rules. I mean, the Labor Act says it for itself, that the person should be given reasons why his appointment is being terminated, an opportunity for that person to respond. But that said, Umaru, let me come to what has happened at Ghana Post. The processes leading up to people being employed at Ghana Post did not just start on December 7th. Indeed, I have reliable information that indicates that letters were issued to these persons as of December 5th, and that the board in August 2023 gave approval that the Ghana Post agency should start recruiting. The processes began in August 2024. People went for interviews in September 2024, and their letters of employment were issued by December 5th, 2024. And so we are a bit confused. We are a bit worried that a minister who in times past had accused the previous sector minister of engaging in 1% of what he is doing now is today supervising in this illegality, is today supervising these inhumane activities at his ministry, which we think is wrong. We have had cause to question him at our committee meeting. As I speak to you, I've written to the Speaker of Parliament, filed a half-hour motion on this subject. I have filed questions to the minister, urgent questions to the minister to come to the floor to explain to us why persons who were employed as far back as 2017, persons who were employed before December 7th, are now getting their appointments terminated.
But you were forewarned, weren't you, during the transition period, that the letters you are issuing after December 7 would have consequences?
Is it a case, Umaru, that for someone who was employed in July of 2017, should get this appointment terminated?
So wait, are you suggesting that of the 100 Sam George has
no,
sacked?
Let me just ask this question.
Does it mean that if we go inspect
the 600?
Yes, the 600
no persons that he's saying under his ministry.
If we go and pick their letters, are you suggesting that there will be none of the letters which was issued post December 7, and there will be evidence to show that they've been receiving salaries for months before December 7?
Well, Umaru, all I'm saying is that the directive that came was for persons who were employed after December 7th. If there's sufficient evidence to point to the fact that these persons were employed prior to December 7th, I think that the minister is overstepping his bounds. And I wonder if this is what this whole reset thing is about. I mean, to the extent that people whose employment days back before December 7th are even getting their employment terminated. And these are not political appointments. These are persons who went through the proper HR processes as laid down in these various agencies and got employed. So what is this precedent that we are setting in this country?
Very well.
That tomorrow another government comes and decides that persons who were appointed prior to 2025, from January 2025 to whatever, all those persons should go home. Is that a very strong civil servant that want to leave behind? I think it's wrong.
Thank you.
And the minister must check his approach.
Thank you for speaking to us, Honourable.
Thank you.
That's Honourable Davis Pukwansa. He is MP from Praiso and member of the Information and Communications Committee of Parliament. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Do we have business news or we have a story before business news?
Well, President John Dramani Mahama has pledged to address delays in the disbursement of the District Assembly's Common Fund. He noted that the fund, which constitutes 5% of national revenue, has faced persistent delays affecting local development and stalling critical community projects. Speaking at the swearing-in of Michael Harry-Amson as the new administrator of the DACF, President Mahama stressed the need for efficient fund management.
The introduction of the Earmarked Funds Capping and Realignment Act of 2017, Act 2947, significantly reduced the financial resources that were made available to district assemblies, and thereby restricting their capacity to undertake critical development projects. Although the provisions of this act affecting the District Assembly's Common Fund were eventually declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, the period during which it was enforced had a profound impact on local governance, depriving districts of much-needed funds and stalling essential infrastructure and social services. In addition, successive delays in the release of the fund and in some instances, the failure to remit the constitutionally mandated 5% of total national revenue have severely disrupted local governance operations. These setbacks have led to stalled infrastructural projects, inadequate service delivery, and growing frustration among local administrators and communities who depend on these funds for essential development. If we are to truly uphold the spirit of decentralization and inclusive growth, we must correct these shortcomings and ensure that the District Assembly's Common Fund functions as it was originally envisioned, to empower local governments and accelerate national development from the grassroots. That's the Minister of Local Government. You can be sure he's the happiest man here. To address these challenges and restore the District Assembly's Common Fund to its rightful role as a catalyst for local development, we must ensure that its administration is placed in capable hands. The complexity of managing such a critical national resource demands strong financial expertise, strategic foresight, and an unwavering commitment to transparency and accountability. The administrator must not only have a deep understanding of governance and public finance, but also possess the leadership qualities necessary to drive efficiency, enforce compliance, and implement reforms that enhance the fund's impact. It is with these high standards in mind that I decided to nominate Mr. Michael Harry-Amson, a seasoned strategist and governance expert, whose extensive experience makes him well equipped to navigate the challenges ahead and reposition the District Administration Common Fund as an effective tool for decentralized development.
President John Dramani Mahama speaking there. Up next is business.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Ijubi Wiafe Akenting. Let's settle for the details. The Ghana Association of Banks has distanced itself from any responsibility for losses incurred by Eurobond holders under the External Debt Restructuring Program. This comes as some Eurobond investors affected by the external debt restructuring move to take legal action against certain commercial banks in Ghana, alleging their involvement in the restructuring of bonds. However, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Association of Banks, John Ewa, insists that the banks only acted as intermediaries in the process.
On the date of settlement, I believe government then had to put those bonds on sale. And the price at the time was, I believe, 42 cents to the dollar. So those who did not opt for, that is what they got. And we are hearing or monitoring reports that a few of them are unhappy and either are discussing with their banks or have written or are in the process of writing or have instructed the lawyers to write to their banks, trying to check whether they have recourse to the banks. And that is what, as a Ghana Association of Banks, we are saying that there is no recourse to the banks. The bank's duty truncated on settlement. Once the bank advises you and tells you that these are the terms that the government or the issuer and the holders have agreed, you had two options, to participate or not to participate. The bank cannot force an option on you. So if you decide as an investor or decided at the time as an investor not to participate, you cannot then turn around and then decide that you have a recourse to the bank, which is merely a distribution outlet. So that is the clarification that we are trying to get people to understand.
John Ewa is Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Association of Banks. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, has hinted at reassessing the cash reserve ratio CRR framework following concerns from commercial banks about its impact on liquidity, inflation and credit growth. While the CRR helps control inflation and financial stability, high CRR levels can limit the amount of money available for lending, affecting private sector growth. Speaking at the opening of the 123rd Monetary Policy Committee meeting, Dr. Isiama noted that rising liquidity in the banking sector combined with inflationary pressures and foreign exchange demand requires a careful policy response.
Domestically, the 2024 fiscal outing, as you've seen in the data, has been expansionary with the deficit exceeding program target. We have seen encouraging signs of consolidation for the first 2 months in 2025. But even with that, questions remain as to whether current measures are adequate to anchor expectations and or satisfy upcoming IMF program reviews. Financial conditions are evolving quickly, as we will see in our discussions. Liquidity in the system has increased. Commercial banks have raised concerns about the CRR framework, the dynamic CRR framework I have come to meet, and we must carefully assess its macro financial implications, especially with respect to inflation, with respect to foreign exchange demand, and with respect to credit growth.
Dr. Johnson Isiama is the governor of the Bank of Ghana. Now, some market analysts believe the government's efforts to address missed IMF program benchmarks from the previous administration could strengthen Ghana's position ahead of the crucial fourth review negotiations. Concerns have been raised over Ghana's ability to meet next month's IMF assessment, with fears that the country could fall short of key requirements. In an interview with Citi Business News, Professor Patrick Asumin of the University of Ghana Business School argues that while the challenges remain, the government's corrective measures could help sustain engagement with the IMF.
Yeah, I think it's more damaging if no action at all has been taken and we haven't done anything at all. I think people talk about the performance target that were definitely missed. The inflation target would definitely have been missed. Probably the target on net international reserves might have been missed as well. But I think, the following through, the fund will probably understand those ones. Because, it's not like we just got up of, one day and decided to discontinue some things. So I think it's not great, but I don't think it will be too damaging. Also, we have a new government, and I think it's important that the government states its commitment that it is working to achieve those benchmarks. But I think once those ones are communicated, there should be a way around that.
That was economist Professor Patrick Isumin. Now, the government is preparing to implement measures to protect the economy from the damaging effects of illegal mining operations, which have had a significant impact on the country's fortunes. In 2023, the mining sector contributed a record 11.55 billion Ghana cedis in taxes, marking an 81.1% increase from 6.38 billion Ghana cedis in 2022. This made the mining sector the largest source of domestic tax revenue. Addressing a briefing with news editors in Accra, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Alma Kofi-Boa, announced that it will soon roll out technology to track excavator operations in mining areas.
We've also started engaging chiefs as part of the one piece of the stakeholder engagement. We think as part of this, we must also use technology. The MINCOM has established a whole technology sector where there's a monitoring. In some of the areas that they've been able to do that, it's working very well because they're able to monitor the areas and see whether this excavator is within its mining area or is moving away from its mine. They're able to track and take action. But it has to be expanded. We're also looking at the possibility of sending technology with the forest reserves and all. That's a lot of expensive things we have to do.
You heard the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Alma Kofi-Boa. Now, Minister of Roads and Highways, Governs Kwame Agboja, is urging engineers in the country to embrace artificial intelligence and automation to drive efficiency and accelerate economic growth. Speaking at the 55th Annual General Meeting and Conference of Ghana Institution of Engineering, he noted that as Ghana is rapidly adopting digital solutions, skilled engineers are needed to lead the transition to ensure the country does not fall behind in the global digital race.
A strong economy requires efficient connectivity and commitment. A modernized road, railway, and ports, making trade easier, creating jobs, and unlocking new economies. Energy is a lifeblood of progress. We are advancing renewable energy solutions, solar, wind, and hydro, and ensuring affordability and reliable electricity for all, while protecting the environment. The future of Ghana's forward march to be at the forefront of expanding high-speed internet access would bridge the digital divide, foster innovation, and create a knowledge-based economy.
Minister of Roads and Highways Governs Kwame Agboja. And that's all for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Ejubi Wiafe Akente. Up next is Point Blank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Oh, jump on now. Go. Google me. At what time when you come back, we are not hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same, right? It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I'll go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small.
Go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Football's magic never fades, even from the couch. The sound of halftime banter replays at the touch of a button. Sharing with my chosen crew, pure game magic. It's like I'm there, but with a better view from the comfort of my home. Priceless. From the March 3rd to April 30th, pay with your MasterCard, online or in-store, and stand a chance to win a unique priceless viewing experience of the UEFA Champions League final for you and your friends. MasterCard, proud supporter of non-stop and T's and C's apply.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
It's 17. Did I say 17? Well, now it's 18:36 GMT. This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. I am Umaru Sandama. Tonight on Point Blank, we're taking you to Parliament. But before then, it's raining out there, and you don't know what happens when it rains. I'm receiving pictures in our studio here. And we are seeing very disturbing pictures of flooding all over. And there's actually a distraction at ANC Mall in Accra, East Legon. I'm looking at the shed where they've designated for car park. That shed appears to have collapsed with vehicles parked underneath it. So if you're driving out there, please be safe. Trees are being uprooted, sheds are falling. Let me take you now to Parliament. It's the final day of the debate on the budget, the 2025 budget. And the two leaders of the House, the Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga and the Minority Leader Alexander Penyumakin, have been addressing the House. I want you to listen to what they've been saying.
With 4 months of import cover, obviously this is not an economy in deep crisis. The NDC, in the minimum, should have been magnanimous enough to acknowledge this, as compared to their own resetting economy, which only aims at growing at 44% in 2025. Mr. Speaker, it is said in our local Akan language that in other words, if they have nothing to offer, they should not discredit the MPP administration. Mr. Speaker, I say that this budget is an Azam budget because this budget failed to acknowledge the success story of the previous administration and the effort made to revive the economy and sustain growth. Mr. Speaker, the minister in paragraph 21 of his own statement lamented the growing unemployment situation we have in the country. But what do we see? In less than 3 months in office, all we hear, sack them, sack them, sack them. And they do so without shame. Now they're creating a Ghana for NDC and a Ghana for others. If you belong to the Ghana of others, they don't care. They terminate your appointment and you have the ministers defending their actions. Since when did employment after December 7 become an irregular employment? So far, it is only one minister who has lived up to the promises of the Constitution by refusing to sack Ghanaians in his ministry. But even so, it's too early to commend him. We wait to see what he's going to do. All other agencies are sacking Ghanaians, all because they do not have NDC party cards. This is a government for NDC apparatchiks. They don't believe in the Ghanaian dream. They don't believe in the promises of the Constitution. And they do so because they have no spare to prick the size of their intent. Only partisan ambition overleaping itself and falling on the other. Shakespeare reminds us of this. This is the character of the NDC. It is their party first and nothing else. We have seen how they approach issues of accountability. Mr. Speaker, we in the minority are not against accountability. We believe in accountability, but we are against abuse of human rights. Today, all the human rights lawyers in the NDC have kept quiet. They've gone to sleep. Where are their human rights lawyers? They are human rights lawyers who are in court enforcing the rights of citizens. Where are they? Today, Ghanaian citizens are detained by investigative agencies beyond 48 hours. Ghanaian citizens have their right being abused without taking them to court. The NDC, the bill, does not believe in the rule of law, and it is clear in their posture. So-called legal search, which ends up in intimidation. Today, if you even criticize them, they threaten you. If you criticize them, they threaten you. They threaten you. And they say, if you dare me, I would release the tape. Release the tape. We tired of the hate, the hypocrisy, and the double standards. We tired. Today, we have two Ghanas. One Ghana for the NDC, which is a Ghana of enjoyment, and another Ghana for the MPP and political opponent, which is a Ghana of pain and anguish. Is this a resetting you promised? Is this a resetting you promised? Today in our public service, whereas they are sacking Ghanaians, they are bringing their party foot soldiers with questionable qualifications. Their party communication officers are filling all the PRO offices in our public service without interview. Have they so soon forgotten their own case in the Republic, in Donko versus the Republic? Have they forgotten the ruling in the case of Donko versus the Republic? Oh, NDC. Yatuaba Enuyenhu. Oh, NDC. Ghana for Enuamuhu. But, Mr. Speaker, the people of Ghana take solace in Ngugi Watiengo's "Weep Not Child." Weep not, child, weep not, my darling. With these kisses, let me remove your tears. The ravening clouds shall not long be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. You, the NDC, we are reminding you, you have only 4 years. The 4 years will soon come. If you spend the 4 years in persecution, your time will come. Your ravening clouds shall not long be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. The power you have today is like an ice block. It started melting from December 8th, January 8th, and it will melt until the next elections. Utilize the power wisely. We want employment. The Ghanaian youths are unemployed. Many of the youths you are sending home. What should they go and eat? How should they feed their families? People are suffering. And you are refusing to provide opportunity for all. This is a country of equal opportunity. This is a country with a promise of fairness to all Ghanaians. If all men find a man's hand in a till, his guilt must be proven. If all men find a man's hand in a till, his guilt must be proven. Go to court and do the case. We're tired of the attacks in the media. The media trial must cease. This is a country of rule of law. This is not the country we are proud of. go to court. To the NDC, go to court. Use the judiciary, use the rule of law. Mr. Speaker, let me come to their so-called 24-hour economy. When the president came to this house, he promised us in his sona that the 24-hour economy will find expression in his budget statement. He told us. When Dr. Atufosin came here, he now tells us the 24-hour economy will come later. The policy will come later. So you lied to Ghanaians. How come in 2025, your maiden budget, the 24-hour economy policy is not featured in that budget? So 2025, we should forget about 24-hour economy. What you are doing in 2025, persecution, persecution, persecution. 2025, persecution, persecution, persecution. 2025, persecution, persecution, persecution. We want jobs. You said that you're going to create 24-hour economy. When Akufo-Addo promised free SHS, he did not defer the free SHS policy. Today, even in the education sector, I cry for the Harun Idrisu-led ministry. What is there in the budget? Let's open the budget. He has been denied every opportunity to lead a policy in the education sector. Is a GET fund under the Ministry of Education? Now, free SHS is being managed by GET fund. And under GET fund is either to report to the finance minister or is going to report to the presidency. We don't know. Oh, Haruna. Oh, Haruna. Oh, Haruna. Mr. Speaker, they cannot. Mr. Speaker, they cannot start with lamentation.
Honorable Minority Leader.
They cannot, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is leaders debating. If you encourage this, Mr. Speaker, if you encourage this, you destroy it.
You invited Honorable Haruna.
Mr. Speaker, I have not. Don't.
Because I saw you mentioning his name.
Mr. Speaker, they started with lamentation. They continue to lament. And even now, their ministers are lamenting. Oh, Harun Idrisu. What have they given you? You have been given a portfolio without resources. The free SHS policy. Read the budget. Read the budget. Read the budget, Mr. Idrisu. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? They've taken all your power from you. Mr. Speaker, this is our Assam budget. This is our Assam budget. And now let's even go to their so-called big push. The so-called big push. You promised $10 billion for this so-called big push on infrastructure. In your 2025 budget allocation, you are only allocating 13 billion Ghana cedis. Its equivalent is $800 million. Indeed, you promised $10 billion. Now, 4 years you have. Let's even say you want to divide this over 4 years. Do your mathematics. Even your maths is a suspect. Even your math is a suspect. Now refer to paragraph 240 on page 49 of the budget. The minister asks why anyone would promise to build Agenda 111 hospitals and fail to allocate enough resources to complete them. Is this a question to ask? You've come to inherit a project. The health infrastructure of our country is critical. Instead of allocating resources to complete this project, you are here lamenting. You are here lamenting. Lamentation. 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 Meanwhile, refer to Appendix 4A, page 139 of the budget. Office of Government Machinery. When you were in opposition, you were complaining about 326 million for Office of Government Machinery. Today, you are allocating 2.7 billion cedis. Hey! 2.7 billion. 2.7 billion for Jubilee. Your party people at Jubilee House. You are spending 2.7 billion. Meanwhile, the big push is suffering. Meanwhile, the woman in banking that you promised that you were going to establish a new bank for women, you gave them only 51 million cedis. And then you are paying party people. You've loaded party people at Jubilee and spending 2.7 billion cedis on them. Research alone is 70 million. What research? CSIR needs money. You are not giving them money. We need research to be done in our various hospitals. You are not supporting them. And then you are funding political research at Jubilee. 70 million cedis. 70 million cedis. We thank God that you have only one term. We thank God you have only one term. We thank God you have only one term. And you come here to say you are canceling the 1D, 1F. What is your dream for the private sector? What is your dream for the private sector? Economy can only grow when there is a thriving private sector. When you give space to entrepreneurs, when you give opportunity for Ghanaians to do their business and to grow the economy. This 1D, 1F initiative was aimed at helping the private sector so that they can do their businesses at a cheaper cost and employ more Ghanaians. You come, you say you are cancelling. In each place, what are you doing? In this your 2024 budget, what is there in the budget of the private sector? You can read and read and read. You can edit and edit and edit your notes. You will find nothing for the private sector. All you know is sack them, sack them, sack them. All you know is persecution, persecution, persecution. All you know is arrest them, arrest them, arrest them. But I want to assure you that although we in the MPP and the minority will walk through this valley of the shadow of death, we will not fear any evil. God will be with us. You can decide to arrest all of us. You can threaten all of us of arrest, but we'll come back stronger and defeat you in 2028. This government has reneged on its duty to the people of Ghana. A bona fide of a government is to create jobs, is to ensure good governance. And this NDC government has failed in that responsibility.
Honorable members, order. Is now the turn of Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, ministries are being reduced from 30 to 23 and ministers reduced from 88 to 60. Talk and do, President. Mr. Speaker, we promise to cut down on waste and inefficiency, and we are removing Ghana Cares, You Start, One District, One Factory. They are all going. Talk and do, President. Mr. Speaker, the President promised to take away duplication and cost. And so he is realigning institutions and doing away with the development authorities and assigning their responsibilities to the various district assemblies where they actually belong to. Talk and do, President. Mr. Speaker, our national health insurance system was collapsing because of capping. President John Dramani Mahama promised to remove capping so that the full allocation will go to the levy so that our health insurance system will function again and healthcare delivery will work for Ghanaians again. That is happening in this budget. Talk and do, President. Mr. Speaker, he promised to give the full allocation for roads to the roads fund and take away the capping there as well so that our roads will get better. And that is happening in this budget. Talk and do, President. Mr. Speaker, due to capping of Get Fund could not complete all the E-blocks across the country. Schools were struggling for renovation. Education was struggling for funding. This budget will remove the capping and Get Fund will get its full allocation and our schools will work again. Talk and do, President. Mr. Speaker, our energy sector, which is in a major crisis due to lack of investments, is being addressed. John Dramani Mahama promised to fix the energy sector, which is in crisis, and this budget seeks to reduce the GMPC share of net carried and participating interest from 13% to 15% and fully restore transfers to GMPC under the Earmark Funds Act, and this will enable GMPC to invest in the energy sector. Talk and do, President. Mr. Speaker, President John Dramani Mahama promised the big push for infrastructure. Big push for infrastructure. And it is obvious that that commitment is being fulfilled. I've heard arguments suggesting that only 13 billion Ghana cedis is allocated for big push. Mr. Speaker, listen carefully. Listen carefully. When we uncap road funds and the money goes to the road funds, what will road funds use the money for? To pay for roads. Is that not infrastructure? Is that not what the big push is about? When we uncap Get Fund and the resources go to Get Fund and they complete our E-blocks, is that not infrastructure? Is that not big push? When we uncap NHIL levy and the money goes, some of the money will find their way to health infrastructure. Is that not big push? Doesn't it give a big push? When we uncap GMPC funds and they invest in the energy sector, is that not going to give infrastructure a big push? When we amend the Mineral Investment Fund and the allocations now go for infrastructure, is that not a big push? Mr. Speaker, it is obvious that the creativity, the ingenuity, the intellect, and simple the Nyansa that has gone into crafting this budget.
Honorable Ayarga, what is the meaning of Nyansa?
Nyansa means common sense. Common sense. Mr. Speaker, wisdom, the creativity, ingenuity, intellect, and wisdom that went into the crafting of this budget, is unparalleled in the history of budgets in this House. Mr. Speaker, it is obvious that my Inkitikiti minority need a crash course in budget analysis to understand this budget.
The words of Mama Yerga Boku, Central Member of Parliament, who is leader of the majority indeed for the House of Parliament, wrapping up the debate on the 2025 budget and economic policy. Earlier you heard his colleague from Efutu, who is leader of the minority side, which he calls Nkiti minority, Alexander Afenyo Markins. That ends tonight's edition of Eyewitness News, which came to you from our studios in Accra. I am Omar Rusanda Amadou. Production by Kwabena Wilson, Beverly London, Sami Wiafi, Fred Tete Jabano, and Julia Sariobing. My reader for tonight, or co-anchor, Ejubi Wiafi Akentin. Yemano Latte handled the technical side of the production tonight, and the new media side was supported by Imano Owusu and the new media team. We'll be back tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you for listening, and have a good night. And it's raining, so please be safe on the streets of Accra.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 973.
Citi 97.3. Accra.